Hello, everyone. This is MMA Interesting Prospects podcast. Today, our guest is John Hopper, who will fight on North Iowa Fights 20, November 30th. Hello, Johnny. How are you?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good. And Johnny, you will be again in the cage in just 2 weeks. Your opponent will be John Ramirez. So, if you can tell me how your camp is going for now.
Um, to be honest, it's never really a camp. I don't really camp out, or make a campfire. But I'm training 24/7. This is my job. This has been my job since I was 7 years old. I grew up in a padded room, and I'm still in a padded room as a 28-year-old man. It's been going great. I've been expanding my knowledge in various different martial arts or sports. I feel like myself as a combatant has grown. I can just feel myself. My teammates that I drill with in the gym that usually give me hard goes. They've been having problems with me, so I feel really good right now. I feel pretty healthy.
And did you have any chance to watch some of his fights?
No, I have not yet. I usually wait till a little bit closer to the fights. I have my team. They look at his fights and they look at his background, and then when it gets a little bit closer to the fight, I look in and then I start to try to analyze. I don't want to I don't want to dwell on it too long.
And actually, I didn't watch also many of his fights, but in the end, he got a really tough opponent, really, because as I can saw, he fought like against Sodiq Yusuf, against so the current UFC fighter, against like guys like Lucas Clay, he got a win over like Dylan Montello. So overall, he's another very like experienced guy that you are facing.
Yeah, I think he's another guy that was probably grew up in a hard situation, a hard life. I don't know him at all. I feel like he's a tough dude. Um, he probably didn't have a lot of formal training experience. Like I'm sure he trained in wrestling, grappling, striking, and he probably has never stuck with the gym. However, his skills are real and they're a professional level. He's fought great people. He's fought tough people. Um, yeah, I think this will be a good showing for us both for sure.
And of course, you are a finisher because you finished all of your wins. So, what would be a perfect scenario for this fight? The knockout or submission?
Um, I heard my record the other day. They were talking about how I always finish, and I think majority of it have been knockouts or TKOs. Um, I like submissions. I love grappling. We just always start on the feet, and it always like eventually I just hit them and then they fall. If I could get another submission, that'd be great. But I'm not complaining about another knockout. Like knockouts are just they're just so fun.
And I think that like many fans really appreciate your style because in your fights you always are moving forward. You always want to knock your opponent out. So you have in the end you have this kind of style that for many people for many opponents you are the real big problem.
Yeah, man, I'm just the dumb tough dude that walks forward no matter what. I think that's why all these different promoters, they every time they sign to fight me, I end up being the main event. I don't I think that's kind of flattering. However, some of these guys that I've been fighting over, like the co-main events, and I've been the main event, they've been better fighters than me. They've more skills. They have better records or this and that. Some of those guys have fought in the UFC. I've been a main event and then a co-main event, and those guys get called to the show, but I don't, and it's kind of frustrating, and it's kind of, but I mean, it's whatever. It's just it's kind of comforting to know that I am almost must see TV. All I need to do is just get on a worldwide stage. People love to watch me win, lose, draw. There's going to be blood. There's going to be broken bones. There's going to be people yelling and screaming, and you're going to get your money's worth for sure. So I love coming forward. I love walking forward and getting in that fire, because I was built in the heat. My childhood wasn't good. I mean, it wasn't bad. I'm sure people have had harder childhoods than me, but my childhood kind of built me into the man who I am today. It kind of that's why I'm fighting, and honestly, I couldn't imagine a better life. My opponent, John Ramirez, he has the opportunity to end me, to kill me, so to speak. But I welcome that challenge, and I am absolutely blessed that I get to step in the cage with someone like him.
And last time we spoke, it was April last year. It was before your Josh Roller fight, so it was a quite important one. And like for the about 4 minutes, it was a really good stand-up fight. But in the end, he submitted you. So how did you feel after this bout? Because the almost whole fight was really good from your perspective, let's say.
Yeah, I was expecting more of a stand-up war. I know that sounds like an excuse on the grappling side. I should have been prepared for the grappling side. I was thinking that we were gonna have fun on the feet, but he is a great grappler. He's a black belt level, and he took me down twice, and then I made the mistake the second time by giving up my back, and he capitalized. It is what it is. It's equivalent to getting pinned in the sport of wrestling. If I were to fall and I got put on my back and I couldn't move and the ref calls the pin, it's like that's kind of frustrating, but I wasn't hurt. I wasn't damaged, I've been hurt in some of my wins than that loss. So I understood before that fight where I was lacking, and I've always been improving on it. I've improving on I am improving on my faults every day. When I step into the gym, I try to think about what I'm not good at and what I need to improve on. So what he did wasn't nothing spectacular, So I already knew I needed to improve on my grappling, which I have been. And yeah, it is what it is. He was running away from me that whole fight anyway. I was throwing hands, and he didn't. Nobody wants to stand with me, and if they want to stand, they want to take me down. And I understand. I've shot takedowns before, but when you're in a fight with somebody, you can smell desperation, and he was shooting desperate. And I mean, it is what it is. He got the win. Cool for him. Whatever. But yeah, that was the last time we spoke. That was a tough, bitter pill to swallow. It is what it is. But I've always known that I needed to improve on my grappling. So with that being said, I immediately jumped into another dangerous fight with Will Starks in LFA, and everybody's telling me this is a stupid fight. Granted, whether you want to say like all my losses that have went to decision, bro, have been kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I don't like. I don't condone these judges. If you've never fought, then don't judge a fight. That Will Starks decision was a little weird, but sure, he won the fight. But everybody who saw that fight knows that I was throwing down. I wasn't. I wasn't. I wasn't. I wasn't backing down at all. And then after that fight, I got the Bobby Lee fight, and everybody was telling me, don't take that fight. That's a dangerous dude too. It doesn't matter who's in front of me. It doesn't matter the skill level of their belt color. None of that matters. That Josh Roller fight, I made the mistake, and I've had to live with it. Nobody else has. And I feel like I have improved. Maybe not tremendously, but I have been improving since then. Yeah, for sure.
And for the William Starks fight, how many weeks did you have to prepare? Because it was like 2 months after the Josh Roller fight.
Yeah. So it was like I fought Roller in April, and then I was having and I always told myself as a kid, I seen fighters all the time have trouble with management issues, and I always told myself, I'm never gonna have a manager. I'm gonna be able to do this on my own. Unfortunately, that's not how it went. I had to go with the management team. I was put in these spots by promotions and stuff, and ended up signing with the management team. That didn't go well, so I left them and went with another management team. And they would end up getting me the LFA fight, but it was on like 3 weeks notice, and it was at 155. I can't remember. I think I was like, I want to say I was like 178 or 180 ish around that time, and then I accepted the fight immediately, started cutting the weight, and it was that I took that fight on 3 weeks notice, and 2 weeks before that, I hit a deer in my spare car, so I wasn't going to the gym as much as I usually do. So it was kind of unfortunate, but I thought like, if God exists or the higher power, whatever is above us, if he wants if he wants me to succeed, he's giving me all these roadblocks, and I'm just going to go through them, which I did.
And before you had a great amateur career to like Josh Roller fight, you had a great professional career, and in my opinion, you are a great fighter. But at that point, in June 2023, how frustrating it was that you were so close to be in the big league. You have skills, you have everything, but in the end, something is going wrong, and then you are on the two fights losing streak.
Yeah, man, it was it was really frustrating. I had so many DMs before I signed with the management team. So many DMs from managers and management teams saying, "Oh, it's time to talk about the Contender Series. It's about time for UFC debut." All these. I knew where I was at. I was so close. I was like in contact with the UFC, and they're saying one or two fights and you can be in the Contender Series. And it's frustrating to know. However, I've accepted it because the reason why I got into like combat sports is because they're one-on-one. Everything is my fault. Everything that I do in there, if I win, everybody wins. If you help me, if you get my name out there and people watch me, that helped me win the fight. You won with me. But if I lose alone. You don't lose with me. My teammates don't lose. I understand my coach will feel every time I lose, he feels bad and he feels like he did something wrong, but he didn't. It's always me. It's always me and my choices. So I've come to terms with being so close and then falling that it's just like it's okay, because I've been at the bottom before. I've been at at bedrock. My feet are being cut with rocks because I don't have shoes and I'm so down low. But eventually I'm like, okay, well I found some slippers, I'll throw on some slippers, and then, oh, well, here's a ledge, and I climb up that ledge. It doesn't matter how far down I go. I'm going to work my way back up, and that's what this is. I've been constantly grinding like every day, man. It's been really rough, but I wouldn't imagine my life any other way.
But after this, you took another super dangerous fight. It was against Bobby Lee, and he actually is a bit a prospect killer because he before your fight he defeated in span of 12 or 18 months two very good prospects, and you won this fight. It was another very good fight, and I believe that you were the first and the only person who finished him by punches, by TKO.
Yeah, man, like that's crazy. I remember telling my coach that. My coach was like, "What? Really? You're the only one?" And yeah, I got that fight because I was trying to get on LFA again, and I mentioned somebody mentioned it to the promoter for Ignite, and he's cool with LFA. So he got in contact with my coach, and my coach was mad at me because when I fought Will Starks, I missed weight by a pound. Okay. I took that fight on short notice. I understand that's my fault. That is my fault. I wasn't trying to gain no advantage. I wasn't trying to cheat. I just took the fight on short notice, and I thought, I can make it. And I made a mistake. I felt like I was getting rushed to weigh in, and I seen other people and they got more time. So if I would have given myself more time, I probably would have made it. I just didn't think they were going to give me that time. But now that I know they would, then it wouldn't be a problem for LFA anymore to make 155. But since I missed weight, the promoter for Ignite and my coach were talking, and since I missed weight, they made me go up to he made me go up to 165 for that title, super lightweight against Bobby Lee. And man, that dude is an animal, bro. That dude is he is like not human. It was crazy. I got signed to fight with him, and I remember I was thinking like, man, this is gonna be like a tough fight. So I'm training. I was training so hard, and that was in like the winter time, kind of. It was like November-ish, like a year ago. Um, and here it was so bad with snow. It was really bad. But I was still training every day, and I was in a wrestling situation. It was probably a week before the fight. So on Monday, I'm in a wrestling room, and I wasn't like getting beat up or anything. And I was like hitting a high crotch to a double leg, a high C, and I hit it, and I cut the corner, and my hip gave out, and it was like, oh, and I was in so much pain, and it wasn't like it dislocated, but it was more like a muscle strain or a pull, and I couldn't stand upright, and I was like having problems. So I left the practice and I walked home, and then eventually it would snow really bad. Our car would get me and my girl's car would get stuck. I would have to shovel it out on one hip, and I was thinking like, man, I don't know if I can do this fight, but I've never backed out of a fight, and I never will. You know, I have to be dead to back out of a fight, and I told myself I'll do it, and I was really nervous for that fight. I was in really bad shape for that fight. I had no energy. If you watch that fight, I didn't really throw any punches. I had to defend everything Bobby Lee was coming at me with. I was just trying to absorb and trying to deter and defer everything he was giving me. But yeah, that he's an animal. We were throwing, and eventually I would catch him with an uppercut. But I think I broke his nose. It sounded like it popped, and then he like backed up, and I just pressed him, and we got some grappling exchanges. He's so strong; he would just move me, and I would just have to defend, you know. And eventually, at one point in the fight, he took me down, and he starts screaming with every punch, going ah. And then at the end of the fight, I mounted him in a high mount, and I returned the favor and started doing the same. Started hitting him, and then I got the TKO. And yeah, TKO and somebody like that, he had like the most fights in LFA's history. He was Cage Fury welterweight champ. Now he's the super lightweight champ for Ignite. Like that dude is very dangerous. Everybody thought I was going to lose that, but they just don't know who I am.
And this was actually your first pro title, right?
Professional, yeah. I fought for APFC, but they lost. Yeah.
And do you have this belt in room or somewhere?
Yeah, you want me to get it? I can go.
Yeah, I mean, yes, you can be, because I think that this is actually first title is quite important one.
Kind of dusty. A little dusty, but yeah.
Yes, but this is the first belt, but probably not the last one. So it's like first of the collection.
Yeah, man. It was really cool to. Honestly, I didn't know if I was gonna get it, but I made the weight, and then we fought, and it was such a hard fight. And I was handed the belt, and I was like, man, this is like pretty heavy. He was telling me it was an expensive belt, and it's a pretty sturdy belt. And then yeah, everybody was just like trying to figure out who I was. This fight was in Minnesota, USA, and I'm from Iowa. So, well, I'm from Kansas City, which is in the Midwest, which is a few states down. Iowa is above uh, Kansas, where I'm from, and that's where I stay now. And then Minnesota's above that, so that's where this fight was. And nobody really knows. Well, I mean, I'm sure they know me now, but then they didn't know who I was.
And in your last fight, it was bout against Ashkan Morvari. It's another like veteran fighter. And what are like key takeaways from this fight? Because it was your last one.
I knew that this was going to be a tough fight. You know, he's been fighting for a long time. He's very, very good, very seasoned. I think he made his professional debut when I was in high school wrestling. So we were both doing combat. Obviously, he was doing it at a higher level. Um, he's older too, so who knows what type of recovery methods he's into. But this is the regional scene. We don't get tested like that. So it is what it is. He's very good, very strong, very sneaky with the striking. He I knew that I was if life's a video game and I am level 30. Sorry, my phone. That was my bad. If life's a video game and I'm a level 30, he's a level 50. You know, he's very, very well experienced, very tough. He would beat me. I was on my feet. The ref stopped that fight for some reason. I don't know. I had a broken nose, but I was okay. Um, he beat me. They gave him the belt. Then he rematched Bobby Lee, who I beat, and Bobby Lee beat him years ago. But Bobby Lee beat him again to get the belt. So it was just like a full circle. Like Bobby Lee was supposed to have that belt in the first place. I'm sure I would fight Bobby Lee again, but I would want to do that in the UFC because that's like a man, that fight could be broadcasted all over the world, you know. It could be a really good fight. As for the Ashcon fight, it would be cool to fight him again, but I mean, I saw that he was talking about retiring, so it's cool. Like I respect him. Like there ain't no ill will towards him or anything like that. Like we were just combatants at the end of the day. I just have a problem with refs and judges. Like most of them don't know what they're doing, and it's a problem. But there's some good ones out there for sure.
It was your last fight, and now I think that it would be a good time to like start your winning streak in November. And if you are thinking about next year, like how many fights would you like to have in 2025?
Man, I always aim to have like 2 to 3 fights a year. Four if I'm feeling great. It's kind of hard to get 4 fights though. Um, I got offered this fight and I got offered another fight in December for another promotion in Nebraska, USA, but it was at 170 and I'm going down to 155 for this. So I didn't reply to it and I'm sure they filled it. Um but if something short notice happens in the month of December where I can jump in, I would like to get another fight in before the end of the year. If not, I would like to fight 3 times next year at bare minimum. But yeah, 3 plus. If I could get 5 fights, if I could fight 5 times for like the UFC, that would change my life completely. I would have so much money. I could just, yeah, I'd be okay. Just 5 fights, I know if I could for sure. Imagine 25. I could be a billionaire.
And I think that you have this great style to be in the UFC for the like bonuses because you are the finisher and like none of your fights are were boring. When I watched your fight, it was like all action, all excitement. So I think that it's like a matter of the going to the UFC to be able to get there. But in the end, you also have this like you always choose like the tough fighters in your like pro career right now. So sometimes it's like obvious that there will be maybe not your night and you will lose some fight. It's just the name of the game.
Yeah, man, that's the crappy thing because I started fighting and eventually everybody's like, yeah, I'll fight him, and eventually those fights will eventually fall off, and then it's like, well, who am I gonna fight? And then I get a short notice replacement for somebody who's really good, you know, and I win and I start making a name for myself. And now at the professional level, none of the low level pros want to fight me. I got offered a fight for a belt actually in Tennessee at 155. It was a couple months ago against this 3-0 20-year-old kid. And I was like, absolutely, like, yes. Immediately I said yes. But the opponent and the management said no to me. But I got offered the fight and I was like that was ridiculous. So it's kind of crazy that these low level professionals, even though they're undefeated, they're just trying to pad their records and make a name for themselves. I mean, it's whatever, but like you said, at the end of the day, my style has brought bonuses. If I two of my losses, the Ashcon and the Aaron Mitchell one, on my record, they're losses, but those were fight of the nights. So if I went in the UFC and I got those, that's 100 grand right there. That's 100 grand. I just changed my life off two bonuses. I have another submission right here, submission of the night win, knockout of the night win. That's 200K, you know? So you're right. Like my style is born for entertainment in the UFC, and it's a bonus winning machine. But yeah, I'm running into these tough guys because nobody else will fight me. I have to fight these high level opponents for either decent pay or okay pay. And, you know, it's just so I could get my ball rolling and get the win streak going, you know?
And sometimes, like from the UFC, like short notice opportunity happens. So I think that also it's like a good thing to be ready. Of course, not in the like all the time in fight shape because it is not possible. But if you are able to make a weight like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, I think that it also can be a big advantage for you because if you win this or maybe another one, you would be in my opinion, a good candidate to get this kind of opportunity.
Yeah, man. That's what I've been kind of hoping for too. I got offered to be on the Ultimate Fighter and I said no. I got offered the Contender Series fight. They said you win a couple, you get a Contender Series fight. And you know, I didn't do what I needed to do, and now I'm still living in a one bedroom apartment, you know. It is what it is. I get that these fights are gonna, yeah, they're just so hard. They're so hard to, like you said, you can't ever predict if they're gonna go anywhere because there's just such high level opponents. It's yeah, it's just tough.
And right now, a lot of things happens in the UFC. We will have a heavyweight championship fight and few other fights in this year, like a very interesting one. But as the fan, if you can book any fight from the UFC roster between the fighters, who would you like to see a fight against?
Two fighters in the UFC fight each other.
Yes, that's right. If you
Uh,
would be like a matchmaker.
I think I think the Kamzat Chimiev, I think he will beat Driscus. I don't think Driscus is that good. I don't think Chimiev's that good, but I think he's better than Driscus. Say he's champ. I would like to see him and Bo Nickel. I would like to see them fight. I think Bo Nickel's grappling and wrestling's really good. Um, yeah, I just think that would be an interesting fight, like a nations fight, like almost like a race fight, but it's not a race fight because they're both Caucasian. But it would be like America versus I think he claims a different country now, but he's from like Norway or something like that, you know. That the Where are you from? Are you from Poland or where you
Poland. Yes, that's right. Comes up train in like Sweden, and right now he's like in the Dubai, I believe, like in this part of the world.
by Emirates or what air? Yeah.
Yes. I'm not sure how to say it in English, but yes.
Uh,
This is like question outside of fighting, but if you can put any few words, it can be three, it can be five, but words on your grave, it probably will not happen, but it's like your kind of motto, life motto, something like this. What kind of words would you like to see in this place?
oh man, that's a very good question. I don't think I've ever been asked that. Um, I don't know. Maybe the only thing I could think of is "Be My Name," Johnny Showstopper Hopper, and then the quotes I guess is "He tried his best." That's all I could think.
And this is, I think, that very good advice overall. Just to try. Something can happen, cannot happen, but in the end, you know that you try to reach the goal. I think that is super important for everyone.
Yeah, man. This life is like I've always imagined doing this as a kid, and I'm really grateful. Like you said, if I were to die right now and those words would be on my grave, I would die a happy man. I became a professional fighter. Yeah, I never fought in the UFC, and now yeah, I never won a UFC world title. But to be able to chase this and talk to people from around the world that have this same interest is it's crazy. It's mind blowing.
And I have a last one question. If you can live in some kind of universe, like maybe from the game, maybe from the movie series, in what universe would you like to live in?
Ooh, um, man, I've been playing a lot of Cyberpunk 2077. That would be that's a crazy world. That's a crazy future, but to get gorilla arms and hands and punch things, that would be crazy. But that's cheating in sports, but I guess it's cool in their world.
Yes, I think that it would be quite fair there.
Yeah, right.
Okay, Johnny, so many thanks for the conversation. I hope that you will win this fight. You will you will build a winning streak, and in the next year, maybe you will get to the UFC. Maybe you will be on the edge of going there.
Yeah, man. I thank you and appreciate all your time, man. Your kind words and everything. It always means a lot, man. I appreciate you.